Today we have actor Leon Hiland joining us. Hello, Leon.
Hello, everybody.
Liam, thank you for joining us. We are going to dive in to learn more about you, what you do here in film and how you got into it and all those fun, exciting things. But first, I know this is the first time we've met, and I would love to know a little bit more about who Leon is. So, can you tell us something fun, exciting, unique about yourself?
Well, I mentioned earlier, as a New Year's resolution, I started becoming vegetarian. And I cheated too much with fish, so basically I'm a pescatarian now. So that's probably my biggest thing is I haven't had meat in almost like I started in 2020, so almost five
Wow,
years now. Yeah.
Wow.
that's a great. So, I have so many questions. Um, One, what made you decide that that was the New Year's resolution that you want to make? Like, did you know other people who had done it and you were like, yeah, or were you like just for health, like I want to see if I experience like if I feel better or like what kind of pushed that?
That was probably the biggest thing is I'm getting older. We all get older, and we all feel like we got kind of got to eat healthier.
Mhm.
So I was just like, let's just cut the meat because I loved it. I loved pretty much all kinds of meat, and so I'm
Yeah,
like, you know what, let me just give it up and see how it goes, and just keep that as part of my diet for as long as I can. And I knew I
Mhm.
could mentally handle it. I just didn't know what it physically was going to do, and I
Right.
feel pretty good. But I work out as much as I did, so
Yeah,
it's little changes, but nothing really big.
right. Um, Vegetarian is where you still eat like eggs and cheese and
Mhm.
all that. If that's vegan, if you don't, right?
Yeah, a good way to explain is if um, yeah, pescatarian is basically you cheat with fish, but you are vegetarian of everything. You don't eat any other meat.
Yeah.
Vegan is like nothing that comes from an animal.
Okay.
No product, cheese, eggs. I still like my cheese. I still like my eggs. I still like my butter. I still like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes all on the same plate.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's really cool. Props on being able to stick with it for that long too, especially if you like really like meat in general.
Yeah.
Um, I've thought about it. I did the whole 31 time and that was difficult and I got to eat meat. So I props to you for being able to do it not only for more than 30 days, but stick with it for
Uh,
so long. That's
I'm
awesome.
Catholic, so it made Lent really easy.
Oh, nice. Is
It
that
made
just
it
like your
before
Lent
that, I
every
had to
year?
make sure I had to go with my schedule, and I'd have to make sure I have to keep checking every Friday during Lent. But I don't
Okay.
do that at
So
all.
you were warming up
Right.
to it your whole life,
Yeah.
really, during Lents and all that.
No, no,
Usually.
I was going the opposite. I was trying to not have to deal with it, but I'm like, let me
Right.
just cut all of it out, and then I don't have to worry about knowing
Yeah.
what day I can't.
The great reconciliation of Leon Highland.
I love it. That's phenomenal.
Giving me ideas for
Um,
that dialogue thing, so
It's chugging along.
yeah.
oh, that's awesome. Um, so for what we're here today, you are an actor.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like what got you started into acting?
Well, I always wanted to be an actor. The biggest selling point is like right away. One of my first memories is my parents brought me to see E.T. in theater, the very first run.
Mhm.
Um, I wouldn't recommend that. Bring your kid. It was a real roll of the dice. But no, I didn't. I just sat there with my eyes glued to the screen all the time. It was like the greatest film of all time at that time. And you'd think a baby couldn't handle it, but no, no, I was just like, I love the movies. I wanted to be involved in any way I can, and the biggest thing was just I wanted to be part of the performance that helped tells the story. But I didn't actually get into it until I didn't actually try to be an actor until 2013 when I just decided to sign up for anybody who's filming in the area that just needs an actor,
Mhm.
and that's pretty much how it progressed from there. Just I've been filming locally ever since.
That's awesome. Did you like take any, 'cause I know we've had a number of different like acting teachers in and
Mhm.
out in the cities for a long time. Have you taken any specific like classes with anyone in particular over that the 11 years that you've been doing it?
I could
especially any that
probably
you might recommend?
well, I recommend all of them, and I can think of yeah, there's a and because there's a lot of them, there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Any one of them, really, anyone that has a Facebook site and a web page, and if you do a movie or so around here, somebody will tell you, well, they'll give you a recommendation of what teacher, and then that teacher will tell you, I also trust this teacher, I also trust that teacher. So I've taken at least maybe one or two classes from a good maybe I don't know 5 6 different
Yeah.
instructors in the area.
Yeah.
And they all said I did all right. So
That's awesome.
Well, good. Yeah. So you started doing all sorts of like acting gigs, I suppose. What was your first film role specifically, and
um,
when?
let's see. So in the summer when I first started, I did a audition tape for the U of M for their film program, and I was a replacement as a bit part on a student pilot comedy. It was like Barry, the show Barry, where there's
Yeah.
an assassin who doesn't wants to be an actor instead. So he wrote the show. He wrote his own pilot. The guy who did it, and he started it. And then who cast me and as the guy who's like a really bad actor, but like everybody loves. Everybody thinks he's a good actor, but he's not. So he has to sit there and watch me do this really bad acting scene with another girl, the girl that he likes in the show, and that was just one scene. Um, so that was the very first one as a replacement. Um, but it went off from there. It just kept going. I did two more student pilots right after that for the U of M. I think within the first year of me actually trying to do all this, I think I ended up in I think 10 student films spanning three different schools. I was the
Wow.
lead for most of them. At one time, I was doing two a day. Everybody in the AI was doing their finals. Um,
Oh, yeah.
and I had to cancel one. So I had to do five student films in one week, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. It was a long struggle, but it was
Wow.
worth it because I couldn't believe I got all this.
Hmm. That's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
And what a fun first role to just be able to go
I,
on set and be like, no, I'm going to play a bad actor. So then you can just be ridiculous with it.
yeah, there's
That's
no
awesome.
pressure. He was open to, different levels of bad.
Yeah, that's so fun. Um,
What was the name of that film?
Um, it was called Family Business. I don't have a copy of it. I kept asking for it. I might never get a copy of it.
yeah,
I still have a lot of the copies of the other ones I did though. Um,
Hmm.
it's up to them if they wanted me to actually put it online. I
yeah,
don't really put anything online unless the film actually says it's okay.
yeah, which makes sense. I know getting copies can be one of the hardest parts after you've actually gotten the role.
You wouldn't think it would be, but it is.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you've been acting for quite a while. You do film or you've done film
Mhm.
pilots for series. Have you done theater at all? Just curious. Have
No,
you
no,
like
no
dabbled in there? Are
stage.
you pretty much like, nah, I'm
I'd be okay
film.
with it. I just no, I don't think I'm ready for that yet.
Yeah,
I don't
for
think.
sure. So outside of acting, are there other like roles in the filmmaking process as you've been on set where you're like, this is really cool. I'd be really interested in that, or does it just like intrigue you?
Yeah, the biggest thing is probably cinematography. I love beautiful movies. I'll watch a bad movie if it looks really good. That's first and foremost. So director of photography, cinematographers. I always like to be in that the little village and watch replays and see how good shots look and all that.
Yeah. Are there films that stand out to you, like in your mind, that you've watched that you really love that aspect of it?
My favorite visual movie of all time is Sucker Punch, and it's
Oh,
a
okay.
average movie, but the
Oh,
Hmm.
action in the film and the sound and the visuals is probably the highest I've ever seen. Everybody loves their Star Wars, everybody loves their Marvel movies.
mhm.
That one was like kind of hit special because it seemed like almost every shot and every angle and every line and every sound effect it just seems like it hits perfect.
Mhm.
Um, so that I haven't watched it in a while, but because it's an old one, it's like from 2010.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So it was like before all those other big ones. And
Yeah.
It did all right. I liked it. It was before Zack Snyder did all his Superman and all that.
Which is
Yeah.
wild. It doesn't feel like it's that old.
No, it
It's so
doesn't.
weird to
2011.
me. Yeah.
2011.
Yeah,
Let's
2011
not,
did it.
let's give it a little more time.
It's so crazy to me that it's that. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
Like,
just
yeah.
watched it recently because I recently bought like a Blu-ray Steelbook, so it's like I have to check to see if it's good, you know. So
The director's cut, right? That's the only
I,
version I'll watch is the director's cut
oh,
because
there you go. I have
yeah.
no idea. Whatever was in the Steelbook, so
okay. I think it's both maybe in that one.
yeah,
But
I
the
think it was
director's cut
like
is
an
like this whole
extended
song and
cut.
dance. Yeah, there's an extra
Yeah.
like song and dance performance added to the director's cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like Oscar Isaac and just
Carla and Isaac
Wait,
are singing for real in that, and
yeah,
he's a singer. Yeah.
Oscar Isaac is in it?
yeah.
How do I
There's a
not
lot.
remember that?
Hey, there's a lot of people that
A
it's like,
lot of people in there that you're like, oh, they're in here.
oh,
It's like,
especially Oscar
Man.
Isaac because you can't really tell it's him. He's got like a really short haircut, and you see him now. He's always got the long hair, but
Right.
yeah.
he's clean shaven. He's got a small cut.
And
He looks
then
Huh.
really young in that one.
he's like the club owner in the like fantasy world kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he's the villain,
Yeah.
and well, John
Okay.
Hamm's in it.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Rana's like mind is being
I mean,
blown.
I haven't seen it since like I've only seen it once and it's been about that long. So maybe I have to rewatch it. Maybe I just didn't realize it. Maybe I didn't know
Yeah.
like who Oscar
Oh yeah,
Isaac
this is yeah,
was at
no,
the
this is like
time.
one
And
of his
so
first, yeah,
yeah.
one of his first things.
Oh, and I mean he's amazing. So all right, I'm gonna have to rewatch
He did
that.
pretty good in that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
have to try.
um, so cinematography, so that's good to know.
Hmm.
But for like actors, who do you look after, or who do you look up to? Who do you, you know, aspire to be? Well, not like, but who inspires you, I suppose.
Who
Yeah,
would you love to work with?
oof, all
Well,
of
that's a
them. I
different
don't. I
question.
mean,
I suppose that's true. It's a different
I'll get to
question.
that one too. But it's really tough. I don't know if there's any actors that really sell me on movies right now. Like, there's
Mhm.
just no one that I'm like, this guy's cool. I'm going to see his movie no matter what. It's not like the old days where that was the case. That back in the day, there was the star first and whatever movie that person was coming out with. So now it's just like, oh boy, I think it's all
There's
female
so
actors,
many.
really. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
okay.
it's like Natalie Portman and Kate Blanchett and Brie Larson and all. Um, who's Tilda Swinton and Helen Mirren, all the really good like the
Yeah.
strong the strong hard hitting dialogue type act. As far as male actors go, any actor that's been acting for since they were kids, and specifically anybody my
Mm,
age. So we're talking Ryan Gosling, we're talking
yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Yeah.
um, Elijah Wood,
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
all of them. They've been acting forever, and you still see them in movies nowadays, and they're still killing it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I I laughed when you said Natalie Portman because I was just thinking of May December and just like that role she played. I was like, oh my God.
Did you see
Which
that?
no, I haven't. In fact, the only
Eh,
let's see. I think I'll get to that. I mean, I feel like I
you
have to
don't
watch
have
all
to.
the.
You don't.
I don't have to
It's
watch any
It's
movie
the
really.
movie is
if you want to have it on while you're doing something else, do that.
yeah.
Okay.
Like she's amazing at everything she does,
Yeah,
but the movie is confusingly uncomfortably weird. I don't
it is.
it's
It's
just
awkward.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's awkward. Like they were trying to do something and then it's like they forgot that's what they were trying to do and
Hmm.
multiple times in the movie. It's kind of weird.
It did
But
look like it was going to be kind of that movie, and I'm like, what can she do now that's going to be better than Black Swan? Because I saw
oh
Black Swan for the first
Right.
time a couple months ago, and
so
that one just
amazing.
blew me away.
So
That was
amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so yeah,
mean,
May December. I'll
her
check it out.
SNL skit. That's her best performance right there. The
Oh,
rap she
the
does on
rap.
SNL. Yeah, that's Natalie Portman peak right there. I'm just kidding. Uh, I love that. So are those kind of your favorites and who you would want to work with, or are there others where like that might be in that separate bucket?
The funny thing is, I mentioned earlier that at the beginning there was like big stars, and it wasn't really much anybody else. At this point, I
Mhm.
would work with literally anybody at any level, at any actor, anybody who's
Right.
starting out, anybody who's just only done TV, their whole life, and be like a big player on an ensemble TV show
Yeah.
that maybe wants to do movies. I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. Is there, I feel like somebody mentioned this not too long ago, and now I'm intrigued. Is there a series that you are watching or have watched, even if it's done now, where you're like, man, I'd love to be on that? Like, I know a
Great,
lot of people are like White Lotus, but like, is there anything for you where you're like, I
great
wish I
question.
could have been on The Office or like Game of Thrones or just any show of all time?
Hmm. That's a tough one because a big event happened last year regarding acting and filmmaking and writing and
Hmm.
all that. And so um, if I answer that question, then I'm like, well, that means I would have been gotten work before all that, and it almost seems like I'm better off getting work like what happens now going forward. I feel like I would
Hmm.
rather be on future projects and just kind of enjoy the older ones. The only thing I could really think of that I really, really wish I would have, oh God, I,
Like in your wildest dreams, if
you
you
know
could
what?
go
I actually don't even think I have an answer for you. I don't think there's
back.
anything
Okay.
down on there to be like, you know what, this was good, but I would have been better, or I would have been better if I was in it. I can't think of anything really.
Or not better, just being a part of it, just
That's what I mean. Me being in it would have made
Like it would have been
it.
so cool, like so
Yeah.
fun, that kind of thing. Like Bridgerton, oh my God, if I could be, I'd probably be terrible. But if I could be in Bridgerton, oh my God, that would be amazing because I love it so much. Even though
I
I am unnecessary to the story of Bridgerton.
I rock with Bridgerton. I'll be on Bridgerton.
Yeah.
I'll, you know.
So cool.
But that's the thing is like so many old shows now are
Mhm.
they're not being remade, but there's newer
Yeah.
shows that kind of have the similar premise to it.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel like I really need to want to be on any previous show, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
If I think of
So
something, I'll come back to
no show.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
it. No show that I really, really wish I would have been on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait, how about Mickey Mouse Club? How about that? We're back with
Oh,
Justin
I
Timberlake and
love
Britney
that.
Spears. I would have been their age.
And
So
Ryan Gosling.
with Ryan Gosling and Christina
Yep.
Aguilera and all them guys. I do. I'm like,
Huh.
I live in Minnesota. How am I supposed to get a casting notice for something like this? If I would have
Yep.
got that, I would have absolutely went down to Florida and did all the work to get on a show
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. So there you
Hmm.
go. Mickey Mouse Club is a nice
There you
starting,
go.
I mean, that was the thing back when we were young. So absolutely.
which I didn't have. I only had Nickelodeon. We didn't have the premium cable, so no Disney Channel. So I didn't even
Oh,
know about it until like after it was done. And you're
yeah.
watching like Britney Spears documentaries and like, oh, she used to be on the Mickey Mouse Club. Well, I
Yep.
wouldn't know. I didn't have the Disney Channel. I stuck with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
So, kind of going back to you as an actor,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as an actor, I know like the process in general can, once you get a role, can be really extensive, really in depth, and everyone kind of has their own way of going about how they get to know their character, learn about them, develop them, and approach it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about like your acting process?
Mm. Well, I try to get the full script. I was trying to get the whole. If I get the whole script, that's key because then
Mhm.
that really helps me when I'm like reading my sections. If I only have my section, I try to think of different ways that I could go with the character in a specific scene. I think that's really it. Yeah, I guess I'm not really going to know until I actually get the side, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but as far as preparing for it, yeah, I always try to look ahead to see maybe not the director like the writer's vision, but like maybe how this is maybe trying to shape up to look as a product, as a final
Hmm.
product. Um, and then the final thing is just make sure that you know your audition is going to look like it would be a take, you know, like an actual take, like you got the job and got the actual take.
Hmm.
And is it something that you could pull up on screen and see somebody performing and call it an actual film,
Hmm.
or am I watching somebody's audition?
No, for
That's
sure.
that's that's what I
Yeah. And once you have the role, like you've gotten
oh yeah, once I have
cast.
the role,
Yeah.
I always want to try to keep in contact with everybody involved as much as possible. So script reads and meetings and all that stuff. I tried to maybe put the idea in their head to get something like that going. I was like to do group readings. I
Mhm.
always want to know as much as I can about every last page of the script.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then like you're in the role, then you've been casted.
Mhm.
What's your process from there? Or like what?
Clearing the schedule so I can actually go do it. It has been an issue before because I've been doing student or short films that
Yeah.
take like 2 days. I haven't um I've been to a couple callbacks where the commitment for time was like two weeks at least.
Hmm.
Um, so clearing my schedule is probably the biggest thing. 'Cause I have a kind of an on-call side. My day job
Yeah.
is on call. So I work that out, and that's actually kind of a process. Once that gets worked out, um, then it just depends on who I'm playing and what my role is and what kind of movie this is and
Hmm.
what the actual plot is. Um, I think once I get that info, then I like to maybe throw it in as an element to my character in the performance when I probably
Hmm.
go into it.
Yeah. Are there genres that you haven't maybe been a part of yet? Like you haven't had a role in that
Oh,
you are like, hey, this would be awesome. Like if you haven't done comedy or if you'd love to do like a musical or even action film or something like that.
Let's see
Um,
what have well, let's see. I've done comedy, drama. Let's see, sci-fi. I've done sci-fi. I've done what thing I haven't done. I was gonna say romance, but I've actually wasn't a student pilot for a rom-com, so
aw, fun.
it was like Grey's Anatomy, but instead of a hospital, it was like a marketing company or some
Okay.
office building. It was like that, and
Cool.
I was McDreamy.
Love
In
it.
fact, that's the pilot played out exactly like the Grey's Anatomy pilot did.
Oh,
Just like,
funny.
oh, I just
wow.
love you. You're my boss, and it was one of those. Uh, I,
I want
huh,
to get back to your process real quick,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like making a film like Electric Addiction. Tell me about your process in that.
Well, I might as well be straight with you, Alan. I don't think I've ever actually grasped that this was an improv movie that we were making until we were like halfway done filming it, and I had already didn't have my scenes. I'm like the whole time, I'm like, Alan, is there a script coming? And I could have sworn you said yeah. So I'm like, I have to admit, there were some parts where I was like, I don't think I need to pour it on this improv as much. Once I knew that it was going to be an improv film, then I completely switched my mode up, and I'm like, okay,
Okay.
now I just have to know, I just have to know what kind of person would do this, and if that was me doing this, um, I wouldn't go as hard as I did with, like we were talking about Trey, our guy
Hmm.
Trey. Yeah, I wouldn't live as wild as him. I would like to, but I think that has something to do with it because I like to. I went in with that mentality. When in an improv film,
Yeah.
there's isn't a lot of character buildup that you have to really get into. Usually, the an improv movie is more of the story. I always noticed, um, with very little focus on the actual character itself. And my character was kind of basic.
Hmm.
This guy liked to party. And um, those that performance I think was a lot of fun. And I wouldn't mind having the kind of job that Trey did, but yeah, I'd like to say that I played that character a little more extreme that I myself would have
Yeah.
done in those situations.
Yeah, that makes sense because you're playing a character that lives that lifestyle and does
Hmm.
that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to think of what you wouldn't do, and obviously I would be more professional. I wouldn't be like an unprofessional chump like Trey was, but I could see the option where I would make the choice to act like that,
Hmm.
and so I went with that when I was
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah, because you oftentimes acting yeah, there's what you would do, and then there's what other people do, and that's what these characters do
Mhm.
sometimes. And
So I got to keep it
is
entertaining, keep
that
it extreme and keep it entertaining.
yeah, is that I guess What's that like when you have to play something that's beyond your realm or your um
Then I accept that it's not actually me that's actually going through what the character's going. It's a whole other character, which means that that character had their whole other life leading up to the point in the scene itself.
mhm.
So I always try to dig into one, the past, and two, the present of how they're feeling in a scene. So yeah, I always try to get more character depth and more character history when there's a what was your question, like different type of movie involved, like
Well,
you're
just
making.
like if you're acting as a person that, you're not familiar with, how do you go
Hmm.
about embodying that character then? So,
Well, yeah, I just got to know that that character lived their whole life this way, and it's not going to look right if I am playing that character. That character has to be played and be portrayed on screen. Um, and
do you
it all
go through like a research process? Do you like, I don't know, maybe not, obviously not method, but like, I don't know, just things to relate to that character in some way.
oh yeah,
What,
Kind of develop like what their past was
yeah, oh, yeah.
that led to that moment kind of a thing.
Yeah, and of course, whatever's going on in the story itself. That's always why. That's
Mhm.
another reason why I always like to get a hold of a full script, even if I'm not in every scene
mhm,
when I do a movie. And of course, it fluctuates depending on what type of character we're talking about
Yeah.
right.
and what they're doing. You know, and
Hmm. Yeah.
very simple.
So,
I'm a very simple.
well, that works.
My process is very simple.
Um, so you've been in a lot of films so far. Have you progressed? You know, you've been doing this for the 11 years. Have you progressed in your career so far as you kind of expected, or did you maybe not really have an expectation? You dove in just wanting to be
Mhm.
in or anything like that?
No, this is. I admit it. I think every actor will tell you that it's going a little slower than they wanted to. Um, but I'm not. I actually am not really complaining about it because again, we had a writer strike and we had an actor strike, and once those got resolved, it almost seems like the future projects are going to be the actual like really good gold stuff. Like people are not going to mess around with writing and acting and putting together the product and producing anymore. They're actually going to
Mhm.
take it really seriously, and write some really good stuff. Um, so I don't mind that I'm not like I haven't made a name for myself specifically yet. I would rather do that now than rather have it happen before the big strikes happen.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
I'm okay with where I'm at currently, you know.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah,
Have you had many favorite roles that you've played? I know you've played a lot for me, so
yeah, you're the guy giving me the most stuff right now, and I appreciate that. In fact, I would actually go as far as to say Alex from January is probably my
Oh,
favorite guy I've
yeah.
played so far. You know, I like playing mopey, mopey, sad, depressed. You know, exes, people trying to get over their ex.
Yeah.
You know, that
That's
was
a
a very
big
simple
problem for
movie.
you, Leon? No, I'm just kidding.
No, but it can't be for a lot of other people. So I
Yeah,
think a lot
yeah.
of other people could really stand to see that movie.
Yeah.
Um, and it looked really nice. You know, you had we had Ben, our camera guy. I always love when I worked with him a few times, and he always has that sick camera that makes the movies look so good. And um, you know, it was short and
Yeah.
very simple, but I think it was really impactful. I had a couple others too. Excuse me, I play a lot of silent characters for some reason. Um,
Yes.
Important, almost leads, but yet completely silent. Um, so um, there's one called Marine Teddy, which is a another short film sci-fi. This one's a little more lower budget. Um, I'm co-lead in that one, and I'm silent, but I'm an alien in human form, so they didn't have to put makeup on me.
Ah.
Um, and since I can't communicate, I didn't really have to do anything because the other character did most of the talking and most of the acting.
Hmm.
I just kind of had to sit there and react to everything. But that was very nice. It was very light for being a sci-fi film, and
Mhm.
that was a 1 day um, uh, film um, day for me. So I think I played like first maybe 4 or 5 roles, big ones. I had no lines.
I
I'm
mean,
in it for like
that makes
yeah.
it easy.
Yeah, no, it was right, but there's still obviously still a lot of acting. There was a lot of that involved still, even
Yeah.
if you're silent. But I noticed a lot of actors around there that I know, they'll do speaking roles, but they don't really play those silent people. I
Mhm.
noticed. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some films that are pretty heavy dialogue, I've noticed, and there are some that are no dialogue.
yeah,
And uh, like Andrew Hunt comes to mind for no dialogue. Dialogue like Ryan Becken, so like locally, so like.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I know there was when we filmed details, the only regret I had for that was I didn't get a shot of you like walking away at the end of
Hmm.
your silent character.
Yeah,
Because it would have just made it more like he could have killed you, but he didn't. But like there's a choice here. So,
hmm.
but yeah, I mean, I was happy with it overall. But
You and I could talk details pretty much all day because I'm a big fan of that plot and
hmm
that whole story. Now I don't know if you like you said you're changing it, but I'm always trying to get updates of that whole uh legacy that the legacy you want to call it
yeah,
anthology that you're working on. It always seems like it's changing, and it always seems like you're adding more, and I always want to know as much as I can about it.
yeah, the old canon is now legacy canon, and then we're moving to the new version with Gael. So yeah,
Hmm,
so yeah, more to come on that.
cool. Yeah, let
Yeah.
me get in on that too. I want
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once we
um
yeah.
once everything started.
Heck
Well,
yeah.
you do have you are we still doing the thing on the 30th? Are we? This
Yeah, yeah, as far as
okay,
I
great.
know.
A quick
But yeah,
cool. Just a quick
Nice.
dialogue scene.
yeah.
Like it.
I'm always down
Um,
for that. Not even just Alan, anybody else who's, it wants to do what do you want to say, test footage? You want to call it that? Or
Yeah, I mean
uh,
content building, that's how
mhm.
I developed my most recent reel is from a lot
mhm,
of like test shoots and just doing things on the fly, learning to create visual effects and actors obviously and
mhm.
Mhm.
it's
Yeah,
just got to
I always
create
enjoy
as much as you
being
can.
involved. Anybody who's, local that does that too.
hmm
Yeah. Plus, I mean, for actors, if you're not getting a lot of copies of what you've done, or when
Mhm.
you're just starting out, that's a huge way to create a reel. So that's pretty awesome.
Or if you're just not filming or you're just not making anything, just
Right.
go out and make something really simple and put it
Yeah,
online and
Yeah,
show off your
YouTube.
skills.
exactly.
hmm
Yep. Um, so kind of diving back into what into like films and stuff that you like or that's really had an impact.
Mhm.
Um, can you tell us about any films that have you been like the most inspiring or influential for you as an actor in your whole journey?
Leon. I'm saying it right now just so I can get out of the way. I can knock
Oh
Leon
yeah, yeah.
Professional. We'll get out of the way because I mean,
Yes.
obviously, that's like guy movie. Everybody's gonna say like guy is gonna tell you that
Speaking of
movie,
Natalie
out of
Portman.
profession. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Obviously, it's a little different for circumstances different for me because it's my real name. I was 13 when I saw it for the first time, and that was just like another beautiful movie, another beautifully shot,
Yeah.
well acted movie, great stunts and all that. Let's see. So we got Leon, we got Sucker Punch, we got a couple days ago for St. Patrick's Day. I rewatched The Departed, which is another favorite of mine.
Ooh.
Mm.
Hmm.
A lot of dialogue, a lot of intensity. Um, but that's another personal favorite of mine. It just kind of goes. It just never lets up. It just starts and then it
Hmm.
just goes and goes and goes. And by the time it's over, you're like, oh, this is a marathon. I need a nap.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's intense the whole time too.
Yes, it is.
So it's
Yeah,
very, yeah.
yeah.
Are there any like directors who you I don't want to say prefer that are like your favorites or that you're drawn to
Mhm.
And so you're like, you know what? If they make a movie, I'm gonna at least give it a chance.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, let's see. The growing up, I liked all the action directors. So obviously, people are going to say Cameron and Ridley Scott. No, I always admired Tony Scott over Ridley, to
Hmm.
be honest. I was more of a Tony Scott fan, and let's see, Michael Bay, anybody that does like
Yeah.
big blockbusters and stuff. Nowadays, um, I mean, Snyder's still doing stuff, so
Hmm.
Snyder works, and uh, God, it's tough to say. There's not really anybody that I really wouldn't work, especially like directors.
Hmm.
It's like a really small list of people who are just like, I'm good. I don't care how famous. I don't care how good. I can't do it. But it doesn't seem to be any. The only issue I would ever have with anybody with directors is like they're really long, extenuous 4,000 takes. Um, but even that, I wouldn't even sweat it because I would know that that's something that's part of the job. And some directors need their amounts of shots they need to. So
Hmm.
most of that I would know like beforehand going in. Um,
Hmm.
and then yeah, I'd be really willing to work, especially like the newer directors, newer TV directors, newer film directors.
Hmm.
I like doing indie stuff, indie TV,
Yeah.
indie films.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think, gosh, when it comes to like directors, it's just when you mentioned Tony Scott, I was thinking about, have you seen Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2?
I saw one and I saw little bits and pieces of two,
Okay.
but it's about half of two.
But that's Tony Scott is no, is Beverly Hills Cop 2. So
Yes.
when you watch 1 and then watch 2, you can see there's a stark difference between the it's so much it's like
It's completely different.
it's so different. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the humor is still there, but yeah, the way it looks is
Yeah.
different. The way the humor,
It's
yeah.
it's
Uh,
darker, it has a more serious tone to it, but yeah, it still has like that humor element like you mentioned, but skip 3, but yeah.
hey, I saw three. Well, I
Uh,
saw it when I was 12.
yeah,
I'm gonna
it's for
enjoy three when you're
12-year-olds.
12.
Yes. Yes. If you're 12, it's fine.
I've seen worse.
When you look back at it, you'll be like, "Oh, what was I
No, I
thinking?"
remember. I even remember like the when he had to dress up as a mascot in the at Disneyland and
Yeah.
push the kid down. It's too funny.
Yeah. But 2 was just like Tony Scott's like when they hired him to do it, it's like it's almost like Blade Runner for Beverly Hills Cop is like
Yeah,
merge these two together.
yeah. It seems like once he did, how many did that was his only sequel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think every
I
other
don't
movie he did
know.
was like an original. I think it was the first one. So I
Okay.
always watched like his original, like the biggest ones like Enemy of the State and Last Boy Scout. And we can't
Top
watch
Gun.
Last Boy Scout anymore. I don't know if we can watch that one anymore. That one
What?
doesn't fit. Last Boy Scout.
I don't know that one.
I haven't seen that,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's that was probably my favorite Tony Scott films. It's probably more violent than Beverly Hills Cop 2, if you can believe that. Um, but that's got a really good story. It's a football
Mm.
action, like gritty, you know,
Hmm.
tough guy film. But it involves like player deaths and stuff, and
Mm.
they play it out like an action movie would instead of like if a player died in real life, on the field. So the dynamics are a little bit different. Remember, this is like 1990, so
Yeah.
everybody gets shot, everybody dies. It's all the action movies are big old bloodbaths, and now it's like you feel a little bit more for people that get shot in action films. Now it seems like I noticed. I don't know
Huh.
about you guys feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Um,
what was that like the mid 90s or mid to late 90s everyone's like shooting everywhere. It's just like
Hmm. Yeah.
the way to go is
I
action
mean,
heavy time.
all of his films are, I'm actually looking at a list now because
yeah,
I didn't really remember.
Top
I'm
Gun.
not very good at
Top Gun, yeah, the first
remembering
Top Gun.
directors, but I mean, Man on Fire,
Hmm.
Domino,
Hmm.
Deja
Mhm.
Vu, Unstoppable. Oof, man.
it helps that he has a lot of the way he films his shots and all that. That it was so different from all the other directors that I've seen. Even Michael Bay, I could
Yeah.
tell his movies apart from Tony
Oh,
Scott's movies.
for
It just
sure. Yeah.
even the non-action shots, like just
Hmm.
normal people talking, the setting of those shots, I could always tell always stood out differently. But
Yeah.
Talk about
rest in peace.
good cinematography too in his films too. So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like you mentioned, if it looks good, so
rest in peace to
Yeah.
Tony.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was sad. Um, so is there something you really want to do now more than ever? Is it like, I don't know, maybe it is theater. Uh,
Maybe it's big
you
features
you
or
said
anything.
like you're not quite ready for theater, but it's like you did January, which I remember you and Joe were talking after the screening. You weren't ready to see yourself on the big screen in your underwear like that. It was just some little joke, but it was just,
I said that.
yeah. Well, like, he mentioned
He
that
must have said that because I'm like,
because
I
he was
know
like,
this is going to be on a big screen.
yeah,
I'm
he's like,
prepared.
I bet you weren't expecting to see your underwear, you in your underwear on this huge screen like this one at
It was a
Woodbury.
big screen though. That was that
Yeah.
Alamo Draft House that
Yep.
really threw me through a loop, and I almost didn't make it. It snowed really, really bad
Yeah, that
that
messed me
day.
up.
I
Yeah.
almost didn't make it, and I almost didn't make the screening either because I we got there late.
A lot of people didn't. Yeah.
You know,
Hmm.
I know. It looked really, yeah, you're right. It looked really good on the
It
big
was
screen. I'm
good. Yeah.
not gonna lie. But as far as what I want to do, I want to get into SAG because I cannot figure out for the life of me how to do it. I think there's like one way where like you were in a project, you're in a SAG project, and then after a certain amount, then you have to apply for SAG to keep going,
Yeah.
which I haven't done yet. I haven't been
You
in the movies that qualify.
So that sounds like you want to move to either LA or New York or Atlanta because that's where SAG lives, or Chicago.
Yeah. Yeah, Chicago. No, which is what I'd be willing to do, except I have a very nice day job here that I can't really leave anytime soon. So that's why I've been really buckling down for the local filming stuff
Hmm.
lately. If there's a way that I can just stay here
Yeah.
and film movies, that'd be great. But I'm surprised moving to California is still the option. Just it doesn't
Oh
seem like
yeah,
that. It's a
you
stable
would if you
area.
were SAG there, you'd pick a work like that. It's so fast. Yeah.
But then you're living with like mudslides and bad weather and
Well, you're working all the time too. That's the other thing in the studio system. It's just nonstop. So you're either
Hmm.
doing background, stand-in, or
Hmm.
maybe a principal role. It's yeah, you're working all day every day if you really are in that studio system because that's where all the TV is done. So
I'm gonna have to change
there's
my mentality too because I'm thinking like I'm gonna move out there. I'm not gonna get nothing, and I'm gonna come
Hmm.
back in a year, or prepare for that. And
just
that's been my mentality
yeah,
for a
just
while.
it have friends that maybe can hook you up with that. That's the biggest thing.
Mhm.
Because that's how I was able to get any gigs like that. So yeah, just definitely
Hmm.
friends that are already in the system will be able to refer you in. So because that's
But
how
no,
I
I'm open to
became
it. Yeah,
SAG eligible. It was like I don't want to
Yeah.
become an actor. I just
yeah,
wanted to get some
Yeah.
money, It's like it's
uh,
fun.
Hmm.
It was fun for me. It was like I'm on a set, this is cool. So
yeah. That
There's always
non-guarantee that I'm
something you
gonna
can
get
learn.
anything, I just that really gets to me. But no, like you're saying,
Yeah.
if you're saying that it's something's going on, then I'd absolutely be willing to move wherever
yeah,
they'll have me.
barring any strike situations.
Right.
Last year
That's
was
another
not the
thing.
year to move there. Um,
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a
Yep.
good thing
but
I
now they
waited.
have their contract for a few years now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I consider it every day, pretty much.
yeah.
You could
So
do it
Leanne,
through theater too, SAG-AFTRA, so
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Or voiceover, whatever. Yeah.
I can't really do stage. I don't know my stage ups for my stage downs yet.
Yeah, me neither.
It'll
You'll
take me a
learn
while
it
to
in the moment.
learn. Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Were you going to ask me now? Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, so what's next for
Oh,
you?
oh, okay. Well, not really much.
Yeah.
Not really much. Just I'm going to be working the day job for a while, but I have a nice morning open schedule during the week, and then I got a couple weekends off. I have every other weekend off and every Friday off, so I have the availability and I have the open schedule. currently for it.
Mhm.
But yeah, nothing really as of right now. This slows down. Whenever I'm not actually acting, excuse me, I do some modeling. So
Nice.
I'll do like commercial acting every once in a while when I'm not film acting.
Good.
So at
That's
least I'll do that
awesome.
every once in a while. I think in a couple of weeks you'll see like me in an United Healthcare ad on your phone. I did
That's
one.
right.
Nice.
You've done like twins
Yep.
and Viking stuff, right?
Yeah,
What
commercials
else?
for both Minneapolis and St. Paul's downtown councils. What else? What else?
Did
I
you do
did print
something for
modeling
the
videos.
Super Bowl? I forget.
No.
Or was
Mm,
that just the twins thing? I can't remember.
that might have been on during. No, that would have been on. Sometimes that comes on during Twins games and
Yeah.
Timberwolves games. I always miss it, but I'm always off to the. I'm like right here, and I notice I'm like this in a lot of commercials.
Oh no.
I could use some on-screen stuff, like some on. You'll
Yeah.
notice like most of the ads I'm in, I'm like over here, or I'm
Yeah,
like over
yeah.
here. I could use some more on camera work, but
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for the extras paycheck because I get background extra work a lot. And I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah.
Nice. I would be happy with that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not aspiring to be an actor, so there's that.
Which
So
I don't
you
mind,
hear that,
this
everyone.
acting.
Leon's available to be in your next
Yeah.
48, your, well,
Well,
Z-Fest
commercially, you
is
don't have to worry
over,
about.
but
Yeah. Oh yeah, the big movies that come here to film. I always try to jump on that. Let's see. So there was Downtown Owl. I
hmm.
was in two seasons and they got cut after I finally saw it. And
Oh,
Mm.
and then Marmalade, I was
yeah?
picked twice
No.
to be in Marmalade, and I had COVID that week.
No.
No.
That exact week when they were filming, and by the time they were filming, it was like I was fine. Then I got COVID, and then I got the email saying we would like you to be a background extra. We want to hold you for booking for
Oh.
Marmalade. And I said, I'm flattered. I like that but this age, this was Ruggiero
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna
Meredith
have to
Talent.
say
These are
no.
both very nice. Yeah,
Oh man. That sucks.
it was not fun, but
He wants a principal role. No, I'm just kidding.
I would love to do any kind of featured extra. I'm open for that too. I feel like that's kind of the highest most people are gonna when big productions come here. That's like for the most of
Yeah.
us are gonna land because the leads are always gonna be outside talent,
Hmm.
which is
Yeah.
fine. I don't mind outside. I like outside talent. So
Yeah. And gosh, when you said Marmalade, because I just saw that recently, and
mm,
I was like, this story isn't going well. I think yeah. And then you told us it was just like, oh gosh. Right when you have something, of course, something happens like that.
Yeah.
But where can people find your work or follow you and support you?
the biggest thing is on Instagram. It's my first and last name, Leon Hiland. It's very easy. I just put everything that I do that I can share. I put on there as well as my personal. That was like this is like my whole life page. Uh, Very basic, but I like to promote as much as my work as I can on that site. You can also go to Facebook. Facebook is actor Leon Highland, one word, and I don't update that one as much, but every time there's work or a way or a commercial that I'm in, I always try to put it on there, or put a link to it that you can watch it on different parts of Facebook. Um, I think that's it. I'm on Twitter, but that's like just all doom and gloom,
Yeah.
ABC News, CBS News, all nothing. That's all very boring stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Leon, final big question.
Hmm.
What do you want people to remember most about you?
I like to believe that I'm an absolute joy to work with on set. I'm very nice and very courteous. I'm always friendly. I'm always open to any questions or I feel like I could talk to anybody that's on set, the crew, the actors, anybody. I feel like I vibe very well with anybody that I work with, and try to keep everything as stress free on set um, as possible. So yeah, likable guy to have on set. Um, That's not always a hot commodity in Hollywood, I hear. Be a
Brilliant.
nice guy on set, be a nice guy on
Yeah.
set.
Just be a
Yeah.
nice guy.
Be nice
That's
on
all you
set.
got to do.
Yeah.
It's easy. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, for giving us your time. It was awesome getting to talk to you and know you. And for all of our listeners,
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much. I've worked with Alan for a very long time. This is a long time in the making for
love
me.
it.
Which how
Yeah.
many have we done now? Like at least 3, 4 maybe?
Wow.
1,
3
2, 3, 4.
with some content building days here and there.
Yeah, 4, and then yeah,
Wow.
content. Yep. Hmm.
Fabulous. Well, it was nice for me. It was nice to meet you.
Yes,
So
nice
thank
to meet
you.
Yeah.
And for all of our listeners, this has been Filming Minnesota.